But I said, I disapprove after that vote. He said, look, humor. So he said he would allow me to tell you a joke and wouldn't count it against my time limit. So here we go. The Democrat and the Republican are having breakfast together. And the Democrat starts bragging to the Republican. He goes, hey, I got a brand new hearing aid. He said, the best news is it's totally free. I didn't spend a cent on it, thanks to Obamacare. The Republican goes, oh, okay, well, that's good for you. He said, what kind is it? The Democrat says, oh, about a quarter after 2. It's great to be here with so many liberty-loving, freedom-loving citizens from the 1st District of Iowa. And a lot of familiar faces. It's good to see you all again. And I appreciate it. It's a grind. I've been doing this since October 24th. I'm not complaining. But it's really neat when somebody comes up to you and says, thank you for serving the country. That's what it's all about. You know, Washington has many politicians who stick their finger in the wind to see which way the political winds are blowing. Way too many. And I think it's important that you all know that a candidate that you support, what are their core beliefs? What do they believe in? Okay, I'm going to share with you in 5 minutes, hopefully, my 5 core beliefs that I will run every bill that comes before us through those core beliefs. They're also the cornerstone of my campaign. First of all, personal responsibility.
Woo!
Government should not do for an individual that which they can do for themselves. I talk a lot when I go around the district about the American dream and how 80% of Americans no longer believe that their children will lead a better life than they do. That's my definition of the American dream. People ask me, Rob, why do you think that is? I don't pretend to have that answer, but a couple of things come to mind. First of all, people don't believe in the American dream because we become a dependent society, dependent on government. People are so willing to take a check from our federal government, give up their liberty and their freedom, just like our states are so willing to take a check from the federal government that they'll give up their sovereignty. Sovereignty that was granted to them in the Constitution. Secondly, I think a lot of people in this country have given up the American dream because it requires a 4-letter word called work. Half of Americans, my friends, are in the wagon. Half are pulling the wagon. Half of Americans pay no income tax. And now, through the Heritage Foundation did a study, we find out it pays more to stay in bed in the morning than to get up and go to work. The average of federal and state benefits, if you are unemployed, is $33,700 a year. The average American, after taxes and after discretionary spending, makes $33,400 a year. My friends, it should never pay more to not work in the United States of America. I favor a safety net. I think we all do. Very compassionate people. But I will fight every day in Washington to make sure the safety net does not turn into a hammock. While we're talking about personal responsibility, I think it starts with Congress. That's why I signed a term limit pledge. Part of the problem is we have people who want to go to Washington, D.C. for 30 years. They go there penniless and they come back multi-millionaires. And something's wrong with that. Something's wrong with that. $366 a year. $175,000 they made today. Do you feel like you're getting your money's worth?
No.
You feel like you're getting your money's worth?
No.
I agree. Cut it. $39,366. Cadillac pension plan. They don't need a Cadillac pension. We're supposed to be public servants. I want to go there to serve you. I don't want to go there to get rich off of you. They don't need pensions. Let's put them on the same health care plan that they're trying to put us on. That we have to abide by in a lifetime, not a 1-year, a lifetime ban on lobbying. If they ever get beat in an election, what do they want to do? Take a year off and go right back and cash in on being a public servant. Once again, this is about serving we the people. It's not about getting rich. Lastly, the one constitutional thing Congress is supposed to do is pass a budget. And And since Obama's been in office, they haven't done it. I will stand up in the well of the House and introduce a legislation to say no budget, no pay.
Yeah.
Second thing I believe in, cornerstone of my campaign, is constitutionally limited government. You can see this, it's an upside down triangle. Our founding fathers envisioned this as the form of government. At the top, the white part is we the people. At the bottom is the government. And government is supposed to fear the people. This is the definition of liberty. This is the definition of freedom. And what has happened? The triangle's turned upside down. At the top, we have 535 suits in Washington, D.C. who are trying to control we the people. It happens all the time. Every day they meet, we are losing liberty and freedom. So I don't want to be Just a few of the examples that come to my mind. Agenda 21. You may have heard it. United Nations, Agenda 21. My friends, it's real. I've experienced it firsthand. I'm a real estate developer in Dubuque, Iowa. I've experienced Agenda 21, and it's real, and we should fear it. NDP, NDAA, National Defense Authorization Act. There's some good stuff in there, but there's also some very, very troubling things in there. For example, President Obama can say you or you or you are a terrorist, and they can detain you indefinitely with no due process of law. This is America. That should never happen in America. So I'm acutely aware of copyright infringement in China, what they do. But I have a lot of young people come to me in the hallway. What do you think of SOPA? What do you think of HIPAA? What do you think of the internet? What I think is SOPA and HIPAA I would not support. Okay, this is the camel getting its nose under the tent. I love the internet. It's one of the best things we have for freedom and liberty is the internet. And the government should keep their hands off of our internet. Fiscal common sense. Our federal debt is $15 trillion. Our GDP is $15 trillion. That's 100% debt to GDP ratio. Greece is 145%. Italy's 120%. We're at 100%. Most economists agree when a country gets about 80% debt to GDP ratio, bad things happen. Economic growth rates tend to have. And Obama has $1 trillion deficit as far as the eye can see in his 10-year budget. Simple as this. We need to balance the budget. And not over 15 or 20 years. Let's go back to 2008. Pre-Obama, pre-stimulus spending levels. $800 billion cut. Cut it over 3 years. Hold it there. Major push tax cuts. Okay, repeal the death tax. And the Congressional Budget Office says we will have a balanced budget in 3 years.
3 years.
2015. Politicians in Washington, D.C. cannot be trusted. I support a constitutional amendment to balance our budget, set the times of war, and to restrict the expenditures of the federal government to a percentage of GDP. You can't trust these guys. They stand here and say they'll do it, and they go to Washington, D.C. and produce what they forgot who sent them there. We, the people, did it. Free markets. Let's give capitalism a chance. The heavy hand of government is in everything we do. Look no further than Obamacare. And 2 days ago, I signed a pledge that if I'm elected, I will work tirelessly to repeal Obamacare. You want to talk about the heavy hand of the government? Here's one I don't know if everybody thinks about often. How about the Federal Reserve? I just read that they purchased 61% of our government bonds last year. Okay, so we're financing this deficit of over $1 trillion. 61% is about $700 billion. The Federal Reserve purchased of our debt. You know why? Because other countries won't buy our debt anymore. Because they wonder if we can pay it back. That's monetizing the debt. That's taking it from this pocket and putting it in that pocket. I don't agree with it. Ronald Reagan, when he was in office, one of the things he did to restore the economy is a strong dollar policy. We have the exact opposite. It's a weak dollar policy. You wonder why your gasoline's going up?
Yeah.
It's because of the Federal Reserve. And the other thing that makes me upset, my 82-year-old mother she had 10th grade education. My mom and dad worked their whole life, 10th grade education. She owns her own home, and she has $50,000 in her bank account in CDs. Okay? She should be getting about $350 a month in interest. That means a lot. My 82-year-old mother. Do you know what she's getting in interest a month? $35 a month on $50,000. Because the Ben Bernanke and the Federal Reserve have an easy money policy, and I'm on a bank board of directors. And I was in the meeting Thursday, and I asked, what are we paying to borrow money at from the Fed? 0.04%. Basically free. I jokingly raised my hand and said, are they going to pay us to borrow money? So the interest rates are low, so my 82-year-old mother negatively impacts her lifestyle so that the banks can make more money on their interest margin. That's just plain wrong. Lastly, sanctity of life is the fifth thing I believe in. I'm an unabashed pro-life from conception to cradle to the grave. For abortions in this country or as part of any foreign aid package. And I also oppose any federal funding for Planned Parenthood. Oscar Schindler, you've seen the movie Schindler's List, he said, it's a great quote, he said, he who saves a life, one life, saves the world entirely. And I think as Christians, pro-life Christians, we are called to save that one life. In closing, my favorite definition of insanity is one by Einstein, who says if you do the same thing tomorrow that you do today, don't expect different results. If we truly want to change Washington, we got to stop sending the same kind of candidates that are there already. We need candidates who do not covet a career in politics. We need candidates who will spend your money like it's their own money. We need candidates who will actually read and apply the Constitution to the bills going through Congress. When I think about the upcoming, the end of this primary, the upcoming campaign against Braley, here's my insight on it. Neither I nor my opponent is going to raise as much money as Bruce Braley, as an incumbent congressman. Neither I nor my opponent is going to have a more professional staff and organization than Bruce Braley. And neither I nor my opponent is going to have more name ID out there in the 1st District than Bruce Braley. Okay, so I disagree with what my opponent said. I think at the end of the day, the candidate is the most important factor in this election. We need a candidate who can stand toe-to-toe and debate Bruce Braley and beat him. The intestinal fortitude to come back to Iowa, not forget who sent him there, and occasionally look the constituents in the eye and say, no, we can't afford it. I believe I am that candidate, and I respectfully ask for your vote on June 5th. It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you.